Hello, everyone. I am back after, again, another long hiatus. Jeez, my upload schedule is terrible. But anyway, today's review is going to be on the Transformers Age of the Primes Leader Class Megatronus Prime, also known as the Fallen. So here we are. There he is right there. Now, first and foremost, we're going to take a look at the packaging right here. Really nice, very spacious. 38 steps, very cool artwork on there. On the side, artwork, more artwork of Megatronus Prime. On the other side, we get a bit of reveal of every other Prime there, and I feel like as soon as you get more of the Primes, you get to form a little image on the side, on the back. You get the little features there, and his main weapon being the Requiem Blaster. On the top, nothing there except dust. On the bottom, barcode, legalese, and that's it for the packaging. Now for a quick overview on this guy, I got this guy actually on January 1st, so this was the first figure I actually got this year, which is crazy. And yeah, I feel like this figure has kind of been a long time coming, especially since a lot of people really wanted a Megatronus Prime that isn't just the Michael Bay version. And, you know, I've been kind of putting off this review for a while, purely because I just don't know how to feel about this guy. And frankly, right now, I still feel very positive about this. I've seen reviews saying like, oh, he's a bit too hollow and everything like that. And while that may be true, I might have to say this might be my favorite figure or favorite Transformers figure I got this year, and probably the best, not only the best Transformers figure I got this year, but also one of the best figures I've gotten in 2026, even though this figure came out in 2025. So, does it live up to that hype? Well, let's find out, starting off with the painting and the sculpting. I'm just going to come out and say it. I think the painting and the sculpting on this thing is magnificent. As I've said so many times, this is a figure that encapsulates the word aura. If there was a figure that I own that has aura, this is the one that has immaculate aura. And that's partly due to the accessories, but we'll get there. But in terms of the painting and the sculpting, it is amazing. Starting off with the head. Look at the details here. Everything from the sculpted vents and everything involving the eyes, the vent work detail, some of the intricacies of it is really nice looking. But I think what makes it really good is the colors they used. They used a, gunmetal black for the base body, then added bits and pieces of purple, metallic purple. And what makes it stand out even more are these subtle, well, not really subtle, but these yellow pieces of paint here. Starting off with, of course, if you look at the face, if you look at the face here, the eyes are really nice, and you could see the yellow there emulating some form of flames, much like the product shot and much like the artwork where this is based off of. This is based off War Within. Anyway, the details on this is really good, especially as well if you go down to the chest. Very nice, intricate detail, although, granted, maybe I wish there was a little bit more detail, especially with these vents, but these do make everything stand out and pop really well. I think that's what it comes down to as well. There's a certain level of just pop, certain level of, you know, the colors pop really well because of the, just because of all different colors here. The purple is really nice, same with the black, especially on the details on the arms. And then you go moving on to the other arm, really nice detail all throughout. Even the waist is really nice with some really interesting little lights here. I'm assuming these are meant to be lights or, again, some form of flames, but it's really cool. The details are really, again, the details are really nice, especially around like parts like this, the cast, and then moving on to parts like here, like the thighs, where there's little spikes and everything. Overall, the detail on Megatronus is impressive, and as I said like two times in a row, what makes this figure stand out is just the colors. The gunmetal black mixed with the metallic purple that clashes with the yellow. It just looks really nice and helps the figure stand out so well. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about Megatronus in terms of paint and sculpting. It's a pretty good figure in terms of that regard. Now moving on to the accessories. In terms of accessories, Megatronus comes with a lot. And this is where I feel like this is when the figure went from really good to genuinely really cool. And again, encapsulates the word aura. So starting off with the most important weapon, that being his Requiem Blaster. Again, nice intricate detail, very nice painting and sculpting, especially again with the yellow and purple clashing together. I don't know what this is meant to be, so yeah, but otherwise it's pretty good. And of course, nice silver barrel. You can peg it onto any parts of the forearm. There are some 5mm ports here. You could also put it here, but that's for the later accessory. So all you need to do is you get this, just mainly this black part, and just tab it onto here. Now moving on, he also has a little barrel piece, which this is technically, I think, meant for the tank mode, as you could see right there. But I mainly use this as a somewhat shoulder cannon. So this kind of goes on his side, much like how the box did it right there, as you can kind of see. So what I do is I put this, and there is 5mm ports here at the back, but I mainly put it here. Now we're getting somewhere. Now moving on to the spear, we have the top half, really nicely painted, and again, very nicely sculpted. However, it is a bit of a rubbery feel, and then if you compare it to the handle, kind of looks a bit jarring, especially with the handle being a stock dark purple and then the top being basically metallic purple. And then you have this little sword thing, which, you know, theoretically, yes, you could put it into his hands and that is fine, but I don't think it really looks cool. You know, I don't imagine him using a sword like this small. So what I do is essentially, since there's a peg hole here, peg here, peg hole right here, I simply just plug them in, and then boom, he has a spear. He has a spear. Really nice. Makes him look even more stand out. But this is where we get to the part where I'm like, oh my god, this thing is perfect. It just looks amazing. And that's when we get to these flame effects. Now, when you put on the flame effects, there is a bit of an order. You have to put, like, for example, this one I think goes to the left. This one here goes to the right. You can't really interchange them, otherwise it looks kind of weird. Like, why are the flames like this? So as we put it on right now, you see what I mean? Why this thing encapsulates aura? Like, look at this. This is awesome. Like, everything about the flame effects is so cool. It didn't need to be added, but it did it. But it was, and it's like, oh my god, it looks so good. Forgot to mention, too, that this little missile on his shoulder, this little missile pod here on his shoulder can be removed. But there's no 5mm pegs, so that's really the only place you're supposed to put it. But yeah, this thing looks awesome. Like, if you get this thing into a cool pose, which I will soon towards the end, yeah, this thing looks amazing. And what else is amazing too, so yeah, overall accessories are great. They make the figure so much better. I love the accessories. And overall, it's really good. Now, let's go over, I think, also the other best aspect about this figure, the articulation. Now, in terms of articulation, this thing is also really good. And I feel like this kind of took some inspiration with the 86 Megatron. Now, as I also filmed this review, there is a bit of a QC issue. His knee swivels this knee is a bit too loose, and this chest doesn't really tab in all the way, so keep that in mind. And of course, even more, his legs are a little loose on the side, so just to be warned, so that my dock gets some points. But overall, I think the posability is great. Nothing feels limiting until we get to later on. But anyways, Head is on a ball joint, so he can look up and not that much down. Can tilt a little bit, 360 pretty well. Arms can go 360. There is a bit of a butterfly joint, as you can see at the top right there, amidst all the black plastic. So basically, you can do this. And then if you extend it more, you can get even more movement. And you can even go back, which is really nice. His arm can go out and can go in. There is a bicep swivel right here. Forgot to mention the missile pod is on a 5mm port, so it can go all the way around. And it can even tilt and bend. But that's more for the transformation. Arm bends just a little more than 90, but not a full double bend. Ball joint at the wrist right here. And opening fingers, which is awesome. And as for the other, same thing. However, there is a bit of a ball joint here, so you can kind of move it up, turn it, and do that. But again, more in line with the transformation. He also has a waist swivel right here. His legs can kick up about this far and kick back about this far and can kick to the side about this far. But this is a bit of an issue as the side skirts kind of get in the way quite a lot. And as you can see right there, yeah, you have to really move these things out of the way. He has a thigh swivel right here. Again, a swivel at the knee, but it can be a little loose, as I mentioned before, like with this one. A 90-degree bend, so he can't really touch his own bum. He can bend his toes or his ankle like this, bend it back, but that's more meant for the transformation, but still pretty good. And ankle pivot. So yeah, posability is great. Those ankles are really doing some hard work on just the dynamic poses. And overall, it's really good. There's nothing really to complain in terms of the accessories and in terms of just getting this guy into some really cool poses. So overall, yeah, posing, if I had to give it a rating, it's probably like an 8 out of 10. Really good. Of course, not perfect, but really good nonetheless. Now let's move on to the size comparisons. For size comparisons, Megatronus Prime is almost reaching the 7.5-inch mark right there on the top of his head. For some size comparisons, here is Megatronus Prime compared to 86 Megatron and the Siege Optimus Prime. I don't have 86 Optimus. I do want to get the KO one because the official one, as you can see, is a little bit pricey for my liking. But yeah, there it is. I won't do a comparison with a 6-inch scale figure because of the fact that you would know already. So yeah, overall scale is really nice. Not bad at all. Now let's move on to the transformation. This video will be genuine hell, as because this transformation might take me more than 20 minutes, or just in general the video, but it doesn't matter. Transformation on this guy is not that bad. A bit complicated, but not that bad. So starting off, we are actually going to untab these gray parts right here. So we could move the treads down and then flip the feet inside right there. Now, next thing you need to do is also swivel the knees. The knees specifically. That's why there are swivel joints right there. Now moving on next to the arms, untab the hands and fold them in. And then for added security, bend the missile pod and the other missile pod. And of course, extend the arms. Then what you want to do next is untab the shoulders and do that. That way you can untab this whole chest piece. Then you would want to kind of finagle sort of your way, or like I did right now, twist the chest and bend the sides of the chest there. Also, another thing too, swivel the head. Next, you're going to want to untab the treads, these parts of the back here, and bring them out. And then as well, swivel the front parts of the tank. Like so. Next, you want to go and put this in front, so that way you can kind of put everything to the side, or kind of tab everything here. Like that. There we go. And also, if you move the head, yes, it covers up a huge gap. Next up, rotate the waist and put the side skirts on the side. And yeah, this is my main issue. Really hope that there's no stress marks on it. Next, do this, untab the little sides there, pop it into the side parts of the tank, and there you go. Then you would want to kind of extend this, but we're gonna actually do a bit of a jump cut because I might have made a mistake, so I'll be right back. Actually, I forgot one key detail. You need to untab this butt flap, put it there, so that means you can tab these pieces in, and then you kind of have to tab in the top, like so. Tab in the arms, and then you swivel them around, as there is 5mm ports at the back. Fusion cannon, flip this little hinge, expand it like so, and add the front part right there. Put it here on the side, and boom. Megatronus Prime's tank mode. Here we have the tank mode. Very nice looking tank mode, I will say. And hot take opinion, I kind of prefer this over Megatron's. But in terms of solidity, I can see what people are meaning. It is a bit hollow, especially at the bottom. And as I'm doing it right now, I mistransformed it a little bit, or it looks a little crooked. So there is an element of it looks a little funky at times. You know, it looks a little funky, it looks a little weird, but the detail, again, is still present, and it looks awesome. You can't, and in terms of articulation, of course, I'll go briefly on it. There's only just a turret, and you can move this up to make it look like he's firing up, which is really cool. But yeah, the detail is still present. The sculpt work is great, but it's also, it is a bit hollow, especially at certain points. Like you can see right here, there is literally just nothing. So it is a bit of a bummer. But yeah, this is a really nice looking tank mode. And again, in terms of a profile, much better. But in terms of solidity, definitely Megatron. 86 Megatron. Transformation, kind of equal. Although Fallen has an issue in terms of just trying to get the chest parts out. So anyways, now moving on to my final thoughts. So overall, is this figure worth getting? Yes. Does this figure encapsulate the word aura? Yes. Again, this is one of the few figures that made me go, oh my god, this thing has so much aura. This thing, you know, if you put the accessories on this thing, it's like a completely different figure. Well, not a completely different figure. It just makes for a completely cool look, covered in fire and everything, and it looks awesome. The only gripes I think I have is just the hollowness and maybe some of the detail, but honestly, I can't really find anything that's particularly negative. Some gaps, yes, are there. Some QC issues are there, yes, but I can't help but kind of, you know, can't stop posing it. It's very fun. The accessories are amazing. The painting and sculpting is good. It's really great. The articulation is really good. And it really helped as well with characters, especially like Megatron here, where he has the same sort of engineering scheme as this guy here too. So there's that. Would I get him? Yes. However, maybe it might just be me. If you can, definitely get him on a sale. I don't believe this is fully a leader. I mean, it is, as much as I did show like he was big, you know, it's more just like he's not a big guy, you know, and it's more just kind of a Voyager but with a leader class engineering and with a boatload of accessories. So definitely try and get this guy for a deal. I got this guy for like $45 on Facebook, and 45 Canadian dollars specifically. So yeah, definitely recommend. Especially now, especially he might go up in price, who knows. So overall, I have to give Megatronus Prime a solid 9 out of 10. Again, this is the one Transformer that I got this year that just feels flawed, that doesn't have the most issues, or most glaring at least. And I honestly can't wait to even to just complete the rest of the Primes. Really tempted as well to just get Megatron, well, not Megatronus, but Prime, and especially Legion Maximo. So yeah, that's my review on Megatronus Prime, and until then, I'll see you guys next time on the next review. Bye bye.